But yeah, I am really grateful to be in this space. Asha, could you like share my PowerPoint, or do I have to share it? Like,
I could share it.
huh?
So just give
Yeah,
me a
please
minute.
do.
Okay.
Yeah, so what am I grateful for? I've had quite the month. I finished my final exams for med school. Um, I recovered from quite an illness I was struggling with. I'm now in better health. Yeah. Oh yes, as April has been quite a month. I've had a lot of good things coming through. So April, May will be even better. So um the topic we're talking about today is grief and loss, and it is exciting as it is a very touchy topic for me because I believe we've all lost something before. We've lost things, we've lost people, we've lost opportunities, you've lost moments. So, usually, when they say grief and loss, people tend to think they're talking about someone dying. But you could grieve a lost relationship. You could grieve a lost opportunity, a lost version of yourself that you can't reach anymore. You used to be a certain person, and because of a certain circumstance, you're not that person. So me, when I was given that topic, I was like, oh, this is actually very interesting. Yeah, and challenging, because I was like, so now what do I talk about? What don't people know about grief? Yeah, but I made an itsy bitsy presentation, and um I'm so excited to share with you. So, by definition, grief and loss are universal human experiences, and they touch all of us, like I was trying to say, whether it's the death of a loved one, an ending of a relationship, a loss of a job, a cherished possession, the feeling of sadness, pain, longing that is accompanied by all these events that can be overwhelming. So, that's grief and loss. Um, Next slide. So we've all, I don't know if we have, but I believe some of us could be accustomed with the 10 stages of grief, denial, anger, bargain, depression, acceptance, like I can't believe. I still can't believe. And most people think that you go through these stages systematically, but I would like to bring it to your knowledge that some people will do it in retro. Someone could start from acceptance, then they bargain, then they are angry, then it's there is no chronological order of going through this. Some people will get angry and bargain and stay in denial, and they never move out of that one, and they stay there for years and years about something. So denial is where there's the initial shock, the disbelief upon learning of the profound loss. Sometimes you're even in denial of losing, let's say, a friendship. You're like, no, she probably got busy with life. you know, she probably got busy with it. I mean, why would she not come around? I mean, why wouldn't he text me back? You don't want to believe that you were actually left alone. Yeah, pardon me, I tend to speak with very straight to the point type of way. Yeah, but I will not mean to offend anyone. If I touch about you, I don't know you in person like that to to actually know what you're dealing with, you know. Yeah, and sometimes you have anger. This is where you feel frustrated, you have resentment, you're blaming others. If she hadn't talked to him like that, by the way, he would not think that about me. No, honey, I'm sorry. If the receptionist hadn't delayed me, I'd have probably, if my mom had not, you're blaming someone else. Everyone else is to be blamed about whatever is wrong and whatever you've lost apart from you. And quite frankly, sometimes they're not even to blame, and it's not even your fault that you're blaming them. It's really the process of grieving, you know. But again, the attempt to negotiate or make deals to avoid the pain or loss. Maybe if I don't go there, maybe I won't have to. If maybe if I'd gone earlier, maybe if I'd not talked the way I talk, maybe if I'd not dressed the way I dress, maybe if I was not the weight I am, he would stay. Maybe if I'd had better speaking skills and I was a better writer, I would have gotten this opportunity. Well, is that entirely true? It begs the question that if all those aspects were really right, you would, which I sometimes beg to disagree, you know. Yeah, depression, the overwhelming sadness and withdrawal and lack of motivation. And this is the one most people think is grief. But even all the other stages are, they still are. It's just that this is the one that is more common for most people. You know, you don't want to leave the house. Sometimes you're even grieving moments you didn't experience, you know. Sometimes you're grieving people. Sometimes you're grieving something you miss. Maybe you miss home, and the loss of that time it makes you so sad, and you don't want to participate in whatever is going on. Acceptance. Now, this is where we would want everyone to be at, but sadly, we are not. But if someone reaches acceptance and they don't go through the others, now that's also questionable, because why? That doesn't seem healthy, because you know maybe made certain they've not come to the comprehension of what actually went down. But when you accept, you come terms with the reality of that loss and you learn to live with it. Whether it's a version of yourself, you're like, when I used to be so confident. Yes, you're not, but okay. It's okay. Like, it's okay. Maybe it's an opportunity you missed. You don't need to accept it in a negative way, like, yeah, me, I know myself, that's how I lose things, it's okay. You need to accept it. I know maybe it was just maybe God's protection. Sometimes if it's like someone you've lost, we try to console ourselves with the ideas of like, oh, they're in a better place, they're happy there. That's all forms and ways as humans that we've come up with to kind of ease the blow, you know and it doesn't take away the fact that you lost something or someone, but it makes you live better, like move on better, because you cannot stay in that state forever. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to the other people. It's not fair to your friends. And yeah, the next slide, please. Yeah, so how do we cope with the loss of a loved one? Grieving the death of a loved one is a profound and deeply personal experience. So one, um, allow yourself to fully feel the emotions. Be sad, angry, guilty, cry if you have to. Lock yourself up. Some people tell you, I cried for 10 days, I cried for a month. That's okay. The problem is when you stay in that loophole forever. It's been 3 years and it's still a touchy topic, yes, but you should know that you can't stay like that forever. It's not fair to the person. I mean, if you think about it, if you, God forbid, left the world today, would you want your people to not experience life, to not live on, to not be happy because you're absent? Like, if you think about it that way, wherever that person is, they would want to see you thrive. They'd want to see you make better experience, meet people, and be happy. Yeah. So lean on your support system of the family and friends during such difficult times. And one of the biggest, I think, I don't want to call it analogy, but one of the most things that I don't like about our generation is the fact that we've pushed all the metrics. Let me get everything on the metrics. Being pushed down our throats is the idea that we need to be alone and we can survive alone and in solitude. We are creatures of accompaniment. We are creatures of living together in teamwork and that kind of thing. And so just because we are instinctively and habitually created not to thrive in solitude, we don't. You need friends to lean on. I'm not all for, and I know this is maybe controversial, but I'm not all for cut them off, let them loose. Sometimes you need to reevaluate and see, is this worth being cut off? Yes. If it's toxic, then you need to let it go, which you probably have to grieve because you're losing something that you actually care about. But not everything should end up with a cut off. Some things you just need to sit down and talk out. Some things you need to know, okay, maybe I was in wrong, maybe they were in wrong, maybe something was lost in transition, something of the sort. Not every time you should like shut everyone out and be an island. I mean, what happens when the tide rises? You'll drown because you're all by yourself. So you need a support system. And I'm so grateful for Unmasked MHU, because it kind of creates that environment for some of us, and that's really something to me. Consider joining a grief support group to connect with other people who understand your pain. Now, people undermine the power. When you tell someone, I understand how you feel, if you've not experienced something, you can only sympathize, you can only empathize, you cannot fully understand the gravity of the situation. It's like when you hear like someone's men say, oh, cramps are not that bad. Are you mad? Are you? Or when you hear people talk about child that like, oh, it's just a, you know, unless you've experienced it by yourself, it's when you can fully relate to that part. See my network glitching. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. So when you experience something and you have people who can relate to that, it makes you feel like you're not alone. Like I said, we as humans were not created to be alone. So we find comfort in other people who can relate to us. And in that, we try to be so different, which makes us all the same at the end of the day, because it's interesting. Yeah. So engage in self care, through journaling, meditating, gentle exercise. Gentle exercise, I quote. I'm not saying be a workout addict or something. Gentle exercise, because you need it. Don't be busting your biceps in the gym because you're depressed, you lost an opportunity, you've lost weight, you've gained weight. All those are losses, by the way. Yeah, so don't be doing that. Yeah. um so we go back to the next grieving thing. Grieving the loss of a job or a career. You studied something and you're not even doing it. And you think about it, you're like, can all those 5 years? Had started a business. Or you applied for this job, you think you're good enough, you're competent, your credentials are right, and they tell you, oh no, we are sorry. So all that stuff, losing a promotion. Yeah, you meet things where you're like rush, like they'll profile you by your restaurant, you can't get an opportunity. And those things are they seem very trivial, but at the end of the day, they affect you one way or another. So the loss of a career can be devastating as an experience. It can trigger tense feelings of grief and loss and uncertainty, like I was saying. The transition from a secure professional identity to unemployment can be disorienting and deeply challenging. You see people opt for things like alcohol and like shutting down. Well, that shouldn't really be the case if you think about it, because if you also think about it, maybe God was protecting you from something.
Um, Faith, I think your microphone is off.
Oh, sorry. As I was saying, that can be challenging. So acknowledging and working through the grief is essential for moving forward and finding new opportunities, you know. If you see those things as challenges, then you can find solutions. But if you see them as problems, then now you can't find solutions because they are problems, you know. Yeah, and with time and self compassion, the pain of a career transition can transform into resilience and growth. You know, okay, fine, they didn't give me an opportunity. Does that mean I should shut down? No. Some of the people who had made it like do all these careers, if you look at them, they were turned out by, these big corporate places we envision ourselves. And it's not fair for you, for the world to be so harsh and for you to be harsh to yourself too. If the world is going to be harsh at you, can you be kind to yourself? Can you understand that, yes, you may not have made it, but that does not mean you're not smart. That does not mean you're not competent. That does not mean you're not good enough. It's just the world being the world. It has nothing to do with who you actually are. Or if you're not good enough, what can you do about it? What skills can you get? What more can you add to yourself that makes you more valuable to them, that they'll, hire you maybe. Yeah, the next slide. So the most grieving experience, if you've not gone through this one, feel free to know that yours is coming. Everyone has to chop breakfast in the famous words. So navigating the loss of a relationship ending. Now, most of us struggle. Some of you, you left the relationships, but you never left. You broke up with people years ago, but hypothetically, you're still there. And that's why you've not even been into a new relationship, because you're in a loop. You've dated more people, but you've never left the other one. So the end of relationships can be one of the most painful and profound losses we experience in life. The grieving of a partner, or the loss of a partner, whether through breakup or divorce, requires navigating a complex range of emotions. Now, this is one of them. You will go through all the 6 stages of grief, trust me. And if you haven't, like I said, your portion is coming. Maybe if you exit this world, but it's coming. You bargain. Maybe if I had, maybe if I had said, maybe if I had called, maybe if I had. You get angry. Who do they think they are? Do they know who I am? And da 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 da. But all that is for nothing. If something has come to an end, it's for the best, that you make peace and find ways to move on. And it does not, like I said, entirely reflect on who you are and what you're worth of and what you are able to offer. Sometimes people can appreciate good because they don't know good. Sometimes people can appreciate your kindness because they don't know kindness. So that does not mean you should change. It would be very sad for you to change to be a worse person because someone didn't appreciate the good in you. There's no time God has been like, oops, since this person doesn't know how God looks like, let me turn into silver. No. If someone knows God, they'll appreciate God. Do you get what I mean? So at the end of the day, you need to understand those small details to be able to move on. Understand that chances maybe it didn't even have anything to do with you. Maybe you were good for each other, but it was the wrong time. Maybe you are good for each other, but your families are not good for each other. Who knows? Maybe you are good for each other, but maybe he wasn't good enough for you, or she wasn't good enough for you. It's important to acknowledge and work through these feelings while also caring for yourself and rebuilding your sense of identity. Because what happens, most people lose their identity, especially if it's been a long-term relationship. You don't even know what your likes are. You don't know what your hobbies are because you had taken on this whole, togetherness of a personality. You need to first find your ground, know who you are, what you actually like, what you dislike. Seek support from your friends, from your family, from a therapist to help you process all these things, and to give you comfort and guidance. And also, you can't heal from triggers if you're not being triggered. So don't be like, I'm done. And I'm never going back. Never. You can't catch me. No. Like I said, the world can't be harsh to you and you're harsh to you. Maybe you're trading off one of the best relationships you could have because you're so hell bent on that trauma. You hold it, you're worshiping it. Me, do you know how they treated me? Yes, they treated you bad. But does that mean you should stay there forever? No, I don't think so. Yeah. So the next slide. So, how do you acknowledge the grief or loss of a dream or a goal you set out to achieve? Vision Board 2024. Here we are approaching August and things are not anywhere close to the goals and ambitions. Mm. You said I'll lose weight, I'll do this, I will work out, I will go for this job, I'll be earning these figures, and things are not working out the way you thought. I'll start this project, this business, this enterprise. So, first, you need to let go of the aspirations. When you lose a long held goal or an ambitious goal you've been working towards it can be deeply painful. You start to think, I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe. No, stop that bad talk. Stop it. So grieving this loss is an important part of finding closure and moving forward. Realizing, oh, I invested wrong. That's why, my Bitcoin I lost that, or I lost this trading, whatever, Doesn't mean you're not good at go back to the ground. First accept, okay, this is where I went wrong. How do I go about it? Do I still want to pursue this? Is it even worth it to me? Mourning the future imagined. Yeah, you need to also still this applies to relationships too and careers. I'll be here, I'll be but I will be married by 25. I'll have a mansion. I'll be driving a car that looks like this. I'll be da 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 da, catching flights. You need to mourn that. You need to accept and say, okay, damn, this is what I envisioned, and this is the potential it held, but we are not there yet. So allow yourself to accept the reality of these new circumstances. Because sometimes you're really in a good place, but you're so hell-bent on what you thought it would be and it would look and and that just blurs your vision. You don't even appreciate the present. You don't even enjoy where you are because you're so focused on what could have been, and you miss out on the today. Releasing attachment to the idea, learning to let go of the idealized version of how our lives were supposed to unfold is an important step. This frees us to focus on cultivating new aspirations aligned with our current realities. I don't think I need to explain that any further than I already have. The next slide. So, while as you're grieving and losing and sad and in your bubble and oh my god, I could have been da 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 da. And sometimes these things you don't say, they're just running in your head. All I would, if I it's affecting your life, it's affecting your relations, it's affecting your approach, it's affecting your potential, it's affecting how much you would achieve if you didn't wallow in that. So it strains your relationships. Grief can put a strain on the relationship as many may withdraw from their loved ones, have outbursts of emotions. Communicating your needs and finding support is a crucial thing to do during these difficult times. You'd be surprised by how people would take you being honest about the things you're actually sad about, and you not putting on a fuss and a face, especially if they care about you. You think, I don't have to stress my friend with that. Share with them. They may not have an immediate solution, but it may take the weight off your chest. Yeah. Changing priorities. Sometimes you need to regroup and rearrange. Be like, okay, this is not working out. let's first rewire, rearrange, and reestablish and set off. And you could, you see people change their careers from, like, I know someone who's been an air hostess for the last 4 or 5 years, and they met the absolute love of their life, dropped an entire career of what she thought was her dream. And she actually told me, I left my dream job for my dream man. And I was laughing. I'm like, okay, that's very interesting. We settled in a whole different country, got married to this person, and they're happy. And every time I think about that friend of mine, I realize how much courage they have. Like, it's not easy. Like, if you told me right now to drop my career, I'd look at you like you're crazy. Maybe I may not be happy, but most of us, we know how to hold on to things even when they are no longer serving us. Yet sometimes you need to change course. Yeah. Empathy and connection. So grief can foster greater empathy as you experience the profound impact of the loss. When someone brings up something high, you're like, I've been there. I really understand how you feel. This will strengthen your bonds with others. Like I was saying, you'd be surprised if people are close to you and you opened up to them. You would really be surprised how some of these people would take these things and how it would help your relation with them and make you guys closer. Yeah, and that will help you feel like you're less alone, and you find comfort in that. The grief presents an emotional roller coaster of sadness, anger, guilt, and more. Navigating these intense feelings can be challenging for both you and your loved ones who aim to support you. Some days you're happy, other days you're sad. You're having coffee, you're excited, then you remember you lost that job. All of a sudden the sky is gray and there's dark clouds all over you. So you need to remember that it's not going to be a smooth ride. It's not going to be a straight path. It's not obvious. And you're not going to just work it out like it's an equation. No, it's going to be twisted. There will be turns, there will be ups and downs. And your willingness to take those on and move on from them will be one of the best things that you could do for yourself. The next slide, please. So what strategies can you have to manage grief or loss? Some of us, we are grieving things we don't even know because they happened so long ago and you just don't know. You're like, I don't know. Some days I just feel, and you're grieving, but you don't know you are. So, some of these things you need to try out. And when you realize you're feeling better, be like, oh, that means I was grieving. Okay, let me continue this lane. Yeah. So seek support. Lean on your friends, lean on your family, find a support group to share your feelings, receive empathy and understanding from this difficult situation. And yes, you're going to try and convince. Some of us will try and go, you need it. You need that support. You need someone to be like, really? Oh my God, that's so sad. I'm so sorry you went through that. You don't have to tough it out all the time or anytime anyway. Yeah, practice self-care. Do the things you love to do. The routines we have are so, I don't know if imprisonating is a real word, but they put us in such a cell that we forget the things we actually like to do. That starts with, there's people that like to walk, but it's been weeks since you went for a walk. There's people that like to get their hair done, their nails done, and they haven't done that. It could be a call from someone you really care about, but you haven't talked to them. Could be a cup of coffee, could be, nicely made pastry that would put you in a better mood. It could be cleaning up, but you're so tired. You don't even have the energy to pick up, but you have to pick yourself up because I hate to break it to you, no one is coming to save you. Sadly, you will have to save yourself. And when you do, the you from today will be so proud of the you in future. And you look back, and that's why people come up with things like, what would you tell your younger version? So you will have to pick yourself up and do it for the older version of you to look back and say, you were stressing for no reason, or whatever you'd want to tell your younger self. Allow yourself to feel. You are not a pan. Even pans feel, they get burnt. You are not a metal. You're a human being. Embrace the full range of your emotions. If someone has pissed you off, I used to be someone who submerges how I actually feel, because I'm a very emotional person, and people like, you're overreacting. No, feel your emotions how you feel them, period. The problem is if you overfeel them and now you're starting to inconvenience others. But be mad if you're mad, be happy if you're happy. But don't indulge in it for so long, and don't judge yourself. Yeah. From the sadness to the anger to the gratitude. I mean, like, I'm also not serious. Who are you talking to like that? Yourself? Are you talking to yourself like that? Would you say those words to a random stranger by the street and you tell them, by the way, you're so dumb? Would you say that before they throw hands at you? No, you wouldn't. So why do you think you deserve to treat yourself like that or speak to yourself like that with such disrespect, the audacity? So grief is a natural process that requires patience and self-compassion. Whatever you've lost, you need to know that it's okay and it's going to be well. That's the first step, accepting it, like, okay, I lost it. I lost this friendship. I lost this person. I lost this opportunity. I lost. It's okay. But how do we move forward? Yeah. Maintaining routines. We are creatures of habit. When you do something repetitively, it's going to be part of you. Your brain will even convince itself it likes to do this thing. That's why we convince ourselves we like to work. Half of us, if we were given the opportunity, you would not work. But it's become such a routine that we believe we actually enjoy it. So why can't you convince yourself to believe other things that are healthier? Um, Stick to the schedule and engage with other people, and structure out a normalcy of things you'd like to do. Next slide. So the importance of self-care during grief. You may wonder why. I do this because why? Do you know how it hurts? They don't even care about me. God doesn't even love me. But why do you need to take care of yourself? Because when you nourish your body, eat nutritious foods. Some of you talking about nutrition as a health personnel. Half of you are iron deficient. You're walking around with anemias and you wonder why you're cranky. You wonder why you're always tired when you have no iron in your body. Huh? Guilty metals are reacting. Anyway, stay hydrated and don't overhydrate. And now you start having things like electrolyte imbalance. They bring you to us and you're not understanding. Don't be taking 30 liters of water. Hydrate. Take enough water. Have your fruits. Some of you say, me, I can't eat greens. Not all greens are bitter. Have you tried cabbage? Have you tried dodo? Have you tried spinach? Why are you looking for the bitter ones? God gave you a variety of options, but for you want what you don't like. Find a way to make these things lovable. And if you haven't drunk water since morning, drink water right now. Anyway, so get enough sleep. That is actually one of the biggest underrated forces of nature. Sleep, sleep, and sleep on time. You sleeping at 3 a.m., waking up at 3 p.m. That's not nice for your brain. Something called the circadian rhythm, the way your hormones and everything works in line with nature and the sunrise and the sunset and all that stuff. Please try and get some sleep, because that's the way your brain reboots. That's only time it has time to rearrange some of the things you be putting it through that are unnecessary, like bad self-talk. Yeah, and get your support your emotional well-being. Work out if you like to work out. Find a sport. You cannot be there and you don't like everything. That's not true. You're just being hard on yourself. Try out something you've never tried. Maybe you like badminton or tennis and you didn't know. Maybe you like to swim, but you've never given it time. Maybe you like to weave. Maybe you like to crochet, but have you given it a shot? No. Mm-hmm. I hope I'm preaching to the converted. Anyway, move your body, light exercise, stretching. Some of you sit in a chair since morning. You haven't moved your neck left and right. You haven't, flexed your arms and done something. And when we say exercise, don't be out here busting your tendons and biceps if you're working out. Do light exercise. Your body appreciates that. A little movement, a little walk, you know. It helps with the stress and it boosts your mood. And seek support. Bananga, you're not an island. Some of you want to suffer alone in silence. You take so much pride and joy in knowing you figured it out on your own. But is it worth it? Is it? I don't think it is. I mean, if God thought it important to be alone, He would have made us an endangered species. But we are not. Because we need each other. He would not have made Eve for Adam if He thought, you know what, let's just have one person. He thought it worthy to have only one sun and one moon. That's why I'm telling you, He didn't think it worthy for you to be an island and be by yourself. Talk to someone. And some of you have people that care about you, but you've pushed them so far away. And I want to tell you, it's not too late. It may be for some relations, but for those that you can salvage, please do. Put your pride aside. Put your ego aside. Mend those relations. You'd be shocked by how much people have changed and how better they are, or how worse they are, depending anyway. But yeah, the next slide. So how do you find meaning in growth throughout a grieving process? Yeah, so you lost that opportunity. You've started out a new gig. You'll have to gaslight yourself into believing some of these things. If you fail to accept them straight up, gaslight yourself, please. Because if you've been able to gaslight yourself that you're not good enough, I don't see why you can't gaslight yourself that you're good enough. It's just that one is more negative than the other. Some of you are like, oh, I'm just not good at relations, and no one likes me. And you're always in your house. When you go out, you don't even smile. Your head is down. I self-sabotaging human beings. Very many of you. When something is too good, you're like, there's no way this is too calm. There has to be something wrong. You start to stir. So that something happens. Because the turbulence is not turbulence. No, it shouldn't be like that. One more, accepting and embracing the reality of the loss. Yes, you lost money. Yes, you lost an opportunity. Yes, you lost. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. You've lost. It's okay. But now reflect. Explore your personal growth and life lessons. You're like, what did I learn from that? What was I supposed? If you believe in God, you can even ask God, what did you want me to learn from that? And trust me, there's always something for you to take away. Yeah. Discover new purpose and direction. Sometimes you need to shut it down entirely, whatever that was, and start afresh. And that's also okay. That's really fine. Navigating grief can be a transformative journey if we allow ourselves to fully experience and process the loss. If it can be transforming, if you allow yourself to fully experience and process that loss through acceptance and making space for reflection on how this experience has impacted us. And from this personal growth, we can find newfound meaning and purpose and propelling us towards resilience. Yeah, the next slide, which I believe is probably the last. Yeah, so don't let grief be an excuse for you to hurt yourself. Feel it, but you will have to move on beyond if you want to be healthy. Thank you very much. That was it from me. Please feel free to react, share with me how you felt. Yeah, and thank you very much. It's been lovely talking to all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Faith, for this wonderful session. It has been very entertaining and very educative. I think one of the things I personally am taking away among everything that I will be taking away, because there's a lot, I think I really like the part where you were talking about how each stage, all the stages of grief are in fact grief, and it's not just like one of them, it's actually every single one of them. So I think that was like that just like brought a lot of like consciousness in the whole matter for me. So that was amazing. Thank you so much for that. um okay, so we are, I guess we're closing in to the end, or we are literally at the end. Asha looks like she wants to say
Yeah,
something.
and you didn't give people an opportunity to ask questions if they do.
Yeah, yeah, I was getting to that. Thank you so much. So, you guys, if you have questions, little or comments, please uh share, you know, feel free. No, don't worry about it, Asha. Yes, Asha, Divine, Patangela.
Anyway, so it's like I was like behind the scenes, I was like, hey Hannah and like really like Faith came in for us. Oh, let me like Faith really came in for us and like she was hitting all sorts of angles and like I was side eyeing some people and then I believe some people are side eyeing me too. But yeah, definitely it's like there's so much that's been learned lately and I think like one of the overall things is like learning. Like I think like what stood out the most for me it's like, no man's an island. Because like I understand sometimes it does feel better or easier or safer alone because like I understand some people have been hurt by other people, but then like coming to that comprehension as like, sorry, from the previous week where we learned something, I forgot what it was called. Was it called the inner executive committee or something? It's like really being intentional about who's in your quote unquote executive committee, like who is in your inner circle, and like not just having people that are just your friends just for titles and stuff like that, but like making use of that, like quote unquote making use of them. So yeah, it wasn't like the positive gaslighting. It was like if you gaslight yourself into, I'm still in DJ's point, but like if you gaslight yourself into, saying all these bad things, like how about like, gaslighting yourself into saying and believing in all the good things. There was so much to learn. Thank you very much, Faith. It was an amazing session.
Thank you so much for that, Asha. Does anyone else like, we can take like one or two more